Ladies and gentlemen, we are once again talking about chess cheating. But unlike a few days ago, we are talking about online cheating. Now, we already know Shevchenko was banned for cheating by FIDE for cheating over the board. Now, there's no concrete proof of that. But cheating over the board requires you to really try to cheat. Shevchenko tried to use a cell phone. There are all kinds of manner in which people try. It's really hard to do over the board. Online, it's considerably easier. And today we're going to be talking about a chess prodigy who's been accused of cheating online. He has been accused by a certain former world champion and a Russian grandmaster who's very active on Twitter. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I mention him just about every other chess cheating video. I'm not mentioning him today. It's really tiring. I'm aside with Gotham Chess on this one. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about this man, Daniel Naroditsky. Now, he's not the prodigy in question. He is the reason that people are accusing this particular player. Now, Naroditsky himself was accused of cheating not so long ago by this person, by the same person that's accusing our protagonist today, Andy Woodward. Now, Andy Woodward here is Philippians, 4 verse 46. It's a Bible verse. He's an American grandmaster. He's the youngest American grandmaster currently at the time of recording this. He's going to be 15 soon. I don't like making videos about minors, but I don't think he cheated. So I think it's okay. If he did cheat, I would never accuse him publicly. I would never bring this up. I don't think he did cheat. Chess.com hasn't banned him, and Chess.com's anti-cheat measures, whatever you may think of them, they are not horrible, and they do a decent job. Why am I mentioning this? Because at some point in the past, you can see I've highlighted them all. He went on a 15-game, it goes on to the next page, 15-game streak against Daniel Naroditsky. He adopted Daniel Naroditsky. Now, Daniel Naroditsky is a fantastic player. If we go to overview, look at that, 2949 blitz, and that's not even his peak. He's peaked at like 3200. Bullet 2957, peaked at 3300. He's an incredible blitz and bullet player. He's perennially top 10, top 5 on chess.com. But we've got a 15-game streak. Now, the reason I don't think he cheated, we're going to start with this as the sample game. This is a game that Naroditsky won. This was the game before the streak. And you can see it's a Spanish. And they just play a normal Spanish, and nothing really happens. I'm going to fast forward. It's a Spanish. They move around the pieces. They trade some pawns. There's a bit of jostling. Naroditsky gets his queen attacked a lot and booted around the board for most of this game, which is I find very strange. You can see the knight attacks it, and Andy Woodward was doing a fantastic job. He was up, but it was time. They play 3-0 because they're super addicts. They play 3-0 or 1-0, and they play super fast time controls. And that's going to become relevant later. Because here black is completely winning. It's 2 passed pawns on the queen side, kind of center and queen side. And you've got to try and win them. We eventually trade the rooks. And it's a pure endgame, but you can't stop that pawn. The queen's got in front of it. It's a draw, probably by best play according to table base, but it's really hard to hold. Now black's winning because the king went the wrong way. Now it's a draw again. And we give a check, and white wins on time. Nothing suspicious about that game. It was probably a draw, and they maneuvered very well. But what happens when we get the tables are turned? So Andy Woodward gets the white pieces, and we get a Spanish like this. And it looks so similar to the game we just looked at. Is it not? Have I booted up the same game? I have booted up the same game. Whoopsie. I think this one is it? No, this one's not it. Whoopsie. Okay, there we go. That's right, now I need to click on the board, I think. Yeah, okay. Andy Woodward was playing the Torre attack in their match, and this is when the streak started. It was a different day, and I just showed you the first game for reference because this was it. They played this a few times because they're animals and they just play the same openings. And we get this position which is just completely crushing for white. In 22 moves, it was much worse before that, because you might say, but I have mate. But that knight's not moving. Like, if Naroditsky hung, if Andy Woodward hung mate, then yes. But mate's not coming, and black resigns because they hang mate in 3. Because you're getting mated. 25 moves. Time, I don't know. Next game. Naroditsky now plays d4, and we get this Queen's Gambit-ish kind of thing. Although not really, the queen gets booted out to that side, and we play this. This is a line that they play, but black's just chilling. The pawn structure gets mangled to both sides. We attack the queen, and this is just lost because we drop the bishop. You can't move anything here because that bishop's coming, and you're removing the defense of this. So bishop c2 removes the defense. We tried for that, but queen takes. And yes, you can take the rook, but I'm still up enough material. We've force trade everything and clean up. Now you would say, but this looks complicated. For these players, like Daniel Naroditsky just made a small mistake, and you know what? He held on for a long time with the white pieces. He held on for a long time, but eventually you're not going to be able to hold this indefinitely, and it took a long time to convert. But white eventually resigned, and this was one of the games that they played. But there were more. There were more. This is the game I am showing you. We go to the next one. White, Andy with the white pieces again. It's now this Queen's Gambit style thing, Jobaba London, not quite a London thing, where they hang a rook. Like, I don't understand. What is rook b8? Like, I know not to play rook b8 because you've got the discovery. You just... Like, I'm nowhere near as strong as these players, but I can see that there's a bishop looking at that square, and that the knight attacks and would do both. So, and the thing is, you can't be like, well, I'll move the rook out the way, because then you lose the house. So, yeah, we just hang the rook, and funnily enough, we give the exchange back, but it's such a dominant position that we can still convert, even though we had to give the exchange back. And a completely comfortable victory. We queen and resigns. Like, ladies and gentlemen, this 15-game streak that Andy Woodward went on was not because he was some genius. Look at what he was playing. Look at what Naroditsky was playing. They played this line so many times in their match. But he's just like almost completely lost here. We get here, and it's just horrible. How do you get to this position in so little moves? Like, he just gets blasted, and it's completely winning for black inside a couple of moves. Completely winning rook endgame up 3 pawns. 30 moves. And you might say, oh, but they didn't play that quickly. Like, ladies and gentlemen, yes, he played this line with the queen coming out a few times, and it drops back. It's -2 here, which is fine because you played a dodgy opening. But that goes down, you go here, but this is coming. Like, it's a draw here because you play rook b1 and rook b3, and you're fine here. You kick out the bishop, which is okay. Take. What is this? It's a good idea because you're like, well, I'm undermining the defense, so I can take that and then take that. Yes. Short castles resolves that problem, so we bring the queen up now to defend the bishop. It takes, and you haven't castled yet, and you're about to be lambasted on the open files. Again, another one for Andy Woodward. It was the same story, another Torre attack. And we got this. And, like, so we sacrifice the knight so we can get the bishop, but we forget that we can grab this with a tempo on the rook, and then we grab this, which is a fork. So the queen comes back, we grab the rook, and the knight can escape. And white's just completely winning at 16 moves. I'm going to go back to full screen. Ladies and gentlemen, like, Gotham Chess made a video about this. I'm making a video about this. This was not Daniel Naroditsky versus Stockfish. this was Daniel Naroditsky versus himself, because the theme of these games was silly mistakes. Like, when I say silly, I mean like not at the super GM level, like, oh, the piece wasn't quite coordinated. I'm like, he blundered skewers, he blundered forks, he just blundered pieces straight up. And time management. Like, they're playing 3-0. There are times when he's got like 10 seconds versus a minute. In 3-0 with no increment, that is unforgivable. Like, it was insane. And this is apparently grounds for cheating, and I don't understand. Online cheating is so difficult, because, particularly at the super GM level, because it's like, well, how do you know they couldn't have found that themselves? Sometimes it's obvious. At my level, at your level, it will be obvious, because people will play super quickly. This wasn't Andy Woodward playing super quickly. This was Daniel Naroditsky playing super slowly. I don't know if he was distracted. I haven't watched if it was on stream. I'm sure maybe he'll say something, maybe he won't. Andy Woodward's not been banned. They've played games against each other after that. Naroditsky ended the streak. He won a game, and it was like back to Naroditsky. That spell of games is just ridiculous. Fair play to him for playing the 10th game. Once you get to 9-0, you are obligated to play the 10th game, and he did, and he got adopted. Cheating online is so... For me, it's fascinating, but fascinating is not the right word, because it's like, how do you know? How do you really know? Because, every Tuesday, our anonymous cheating savant, Robin Hood, whatever you want to call him, says, oh, X amount of players were cheating, and he calls it Cheating Tuesday, because chess.com will call it Title Tuesday. And he's going to be right in some occasions. Like, he was right about Krylsovchenko, but not always. And how do you know? Because, like, how do you really know? How do you know if it's that player overperformed and played a really good game, or the opposing player underperformed? Like, today, you're like, oh, but he got a 15-game streak against such a top player. That was not Daniel Naroditsky playing. That was, I don't know, Daniel Naroditsky half inebriated on crack cocaine. I don't know what that was. Like, I would never accuse him of doing drugs or anything like that. Please don't take that out of context. But that's not the Daniel Naroditsky that's 3,100. That's 3,200. That was the Daniel Naroditsky that's a 27, 2,600 and got blasted by 3,000, 3,200. Silly mistakes, poor time management, and we're going to accuse his opponent of cheating. It's, dare I invoke his name, it's not too dissimilar to the Hans Niemann case, where no one could prove he cheated, but because he outplayed Magnus to such a degree, it was like, well, Hans had to be cheating because he beat Magnus. I still don't know what happened. Hans doesn't say he cheated, and we only really have his word for it. No one else can prove anything. We all have our suspicions, but no one can prove anything, and that's the really difficult thing with chess. You can't prove definitively unless you catch them in the act. Even Krylsovchenko said, well, you never caught me. I didn't seek assistance. I used the phone, but it didn't help, even though he won the game. Or it was a draw, rather, but that was after you started using the phone. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think anyone would have cheated? I don't. I really don't. But don't let my opinion sway you. If you think that was unforgivable, that streak was showcased some of the most amazing chess that can only be played by Stockfish, let me know down in the comments down below.